Around horse. My mother was a champion barrel racer, and we always had quarter horses around. From the time I could walk, um, were my earliest memories of getting on horses. But the one I remember most is I had we were up rounding up wild horses in the Owyhee Mountains outside of Idaho, in the backcountry of Idaho, and I was on one of my mom's racing quarter horses, and I was riding down this dirt road with my big brother, and we turned around and the horse thought it was in a horse race, like a match race, and bolted with me, running off with me, and I had no control. And we had a big campground set up, like a wagon train thing with all the campers and everything, and she was going really fast and got into camp, and why I bailed off, I don't know, but I bailed off and hit a mirror on my dad's truck and then under the hood, and I woke up about 15 hours later, and my nose was all over. I broke my nose. I think I was 6 or 7 years old, and when I woke up, I'm like, what the hell? So I was actually scared of horses for a long time. I'd still ride, but I didn't trust them, and I wasn't in love with them, but I liked it. And then when I galloped my first racehorse when I was 11 years old, and I felt the power, and I felt like I was in control and won with the horse. Just got along very, very well, and I felt in love with it, and I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to be a jockey.
Like, how did you go about taking on that career?
My dad's a horse trainer. Up until about 15 years ago, he retired, and then my older brother Scott, he was riding. He's a couple years older than I am, and he started riding 3 years before I did, and he was having a lot of success, and he was kind of my idol, and he taught me everything that I knew. And growing up, grooming horses from the time I was 8 years old in my dad's barn at the old Dubois Park in Boise, Idaho, I learned from the ground up from the time I was a little kid, and it just became second nature to me.
Right. A lot of people talk about the horsemen back in the 70s, the 80s. What made these guys so special?
Well, they could decipher what was going on in a horse's mind, and they were great horsemen as far as seeing when a horse had a problem physically, and detecting that quicker than most people would detect, and get the work on them right away, and just get them fixed up and healthy again, and not try and pound on a horse that may have an issue somewhere. And those were the guys, man. They just knew every one of their horses, and they treated them as individuals.
And what's your favorite moment in racing?
Oh, I guess my favorite moment would have to be winning the Kentucky Derby. My first Derby in 1988, I won on winning colors with out-of-body experience, and it made me hungry to have won another one. I was fortunate enough to win my second one in 1995, and that was an even better feeling than the first one, because I knew what was coming, that it was going to be exciting. And my third one in 1997 on Silver Charm, nothing's ever going to top that victory.
And what's the feeling like when your big horse win the Derby? Like, what's that vibe like?
And it's unexplainable. Just the excitement. I wish I could feel that moment, turn it on and off whenever I want. The unfortunate thing is, in this business, you win a big race like that, and you got to move on to your next race. But it's the most beautiful feeling in the world.
And when you see Sonny Leon, underdog, right, win the Derby like that, like, what came to mind for you?
Well, he was exposed as a very good rider. I mean, he'd been riding the minor racetracks and doing well, but no one really knew who Sonny Leon was, and instantly he became a recognizable face. And he rode a tremendous race, one of the best Derby rides, if not the best Derby rides that I've seen, not only when I rode, but from the time I started watching the Derby when I was a little kid.
Who was the mentor for you? Who was the mentor?
I have a lot of mentors, but the biggest mentor, and he was right until the last day I rode, my coach, my brother. Loving my brother Scott, but I had Bill Shoemaker on my corner helping me when I was young. But I rode with some of the greatest riders of all time: Angel Cordero, Lafitte Pincaid, Chris McCarron, Eddie Delahousie, Georgie Velasquez, Jacinto Vasquez. I was around. I came around at an ideal time. I was young. they were you know, in their mid 30s, and they were the masters of the game. And so I got to ride with guys from that era, and you know, my career lasted long enough that I got to ride with the Ortiz brothers, with Julian A. Peru, Flavian Pratt. Obviously, I grew up with Mike Smith. You know, we grew together. Jose Santos. I was fortunate enough to be around a lot of great people.
The program is the real players inside the backstretch. How important is the men and women that wake up every day and work with these horses?
I'm glad you brought that up, because the guys behind the scenes, the grooms, the hot walkers, the shipping companies that have their agents going around every single morning, the pony people, the tractor drivers, people. We're in the grandstands here at Saratoga right now. I just got off work, and the people at the stands that are selling from the hot dogs to the beers to it's its own city. And with one missing link, one person having a bad day, everybody's going to have a bad day. We depend on the Gallop boys, the exercise boys, just everybody in the game. The feed people that deliver our feed, the straw, the hay. It's a lot of work that goes into it.
Thank you.
All right, man.
Tell the audience, if somebody watching that don't understand what handicapping is, kind of break it down just a little bit for us.
It's basically just trying to find the right horse at the right time to make you the money. Personally, I don't like playing favorites. I like to spread it around, try to make money. You know, you can't really make money betting favorites all day. So you got to find alternate sources, you know, horses that not everybody's going to be on. And that's what I try to do all the time. Even when I was, you know, doing the races at Tampa Bay, you know, anytime I handicap, that's what I want to do.
So what kind of discipline you got to have? Is it favorite jockeys? Is it favorite,
you know, it's funny. I don't really do all that. Most of the time I don't even pay attention to jockeys. Although I know some of their tendencies, and I'll incorporate that. But it's just all about the horses, you know, even you know, just the whole sport in general. It's all about the horses, and when all that comes together, the jockey's just a passenger and get to the winner's circle.
Right. What's your favorite moment of all time in horse racing, man?
Had to be when I hit the big one at the Breeders' Cup in 2014.
Yeah.
Hit a pick 4. Bobby's Kitten was a single in the last race of a pick 4, and I hit it. It was 32,000. You know, I'm proud of that one. It was a good ticket. It was only $24 ticket I played. Got a nice picture of Bobby's Kitten. My wife bought me a picture of Bobby's Kitten hanging up in my living room, and I'll never forget it.
Right, for you, right? Who goes down as the best trainer of all time?
Chuck Simon. Everybody knows Chuck Simon. You know, I see your videos, and literally everybody you had on there has some connection to Chuck Simon. But he's a great guy. You know, it's my man, it's my brother. But I like them all, everybody. You know, all the trainers are very nice people. All the ones that I've met.
Yeah.
So, you know, I just love the sport. That's all. That's really the thing for me.
And you know, the real players, man. What you think about this program, man?
I love it. I love it. I love seeing, you know, all the people that do the hard work every day on your show, and letting, you know, you letting them tell their story, because, you know, nobody knows about that a lot of the times. You know, guys like Chuck Simon and myself, we do, but not everybody else, not typically the general public, and it is great that you're bringing that out to the people. And
how important is the people in the backstretch to racing?
They're everything. Yeah. Without them, nothing happens. None of the show happens without them.
And you know, where can people find you at and see what you're doing?
Most of the time on Twitter, I'm at Urban Handicapper. It's URBN Handicapper, and I'm there all day, every day. DM's open. Hit me up anytime.
I got infected with horse racing when I was about 14 years old, right at this very place.
Wow.
When I was a little kid, my dad used to bring us here, and we'd run around and collect tickets. We got to be about 13, 14, and we'd start betting, me and my brothers, and things led to things. I went to the University of Arizona, racetrack program. I worked for a bunch of big trainers, Nick Zito, Wayne Lucas, Tommy Skiffington, Alan Jerkins was obviously the biggest influence that I had, and I trained from 1999 to 2019.
And you know, what's some of the good horses that you've been around?
Well, when when I worked for Jerkins, we had a horse named Kelly Kip, and when I first started there, we had Devil's Due, Sky Beauty, and those really kind of legendary horses. When I trained myself, I had a couple good horses. We had a horse named Battle One. We won a stake here at Saratoga with a horse named Saratoga Sunrise, which was cool. So, been around a lot of good horses.
And right, how important is the groom to the barn, man?
Well, you can't do it. None of this would happen without the people at the barn. You can't do your job. The grooms do an amazing job taking care of the horses, the hot walkers, the exercise riders, the assistants. It's a team effort, and it's a hard job. I mean, working on the backside is a tough job. It's 24/7. Horses can get sick at the worst times. They can get hurt the easiest ways. The craziest things can happen, and the people that take care of them every day, I mean, they become like family, and it's easy to overlook them, and they're kind of nameless, faceless people because their names don't get on the program. Their names don't get in the form, but their jobs are invaluable because the trainers could not do this, of course, without their help.
Right, throughout the years, right, what's your favorite moment in horse racing?
I don't know. That's a tough one. Winning the first race I ever ran here with a horse named the Night Sky, that was pretty good. I mean, that was a horse we all bet on. He was enough 36-1. So,
who's the best jockey you ever seen ride a horse?
When I first started training, the two jockeys that I used the most were Jerry Bailey and Pat Day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you've got two guys who are arguably in the top 5, 6, 7 all time.
Yeah.
It's kind of tough to replace those guys, but I had luck with a lot of different jockeys. Ramon Dominguez, I did really well with him. I did great with Rafael Bararano, Craig Perret, just a lot of different people over the years, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of them, but the jockeys, of course, are an important part of the team too, except they don't always stay with you. Sometimes they ride the other guy's horse and they're on the other team.
Yeah.
But I'm too big to ride them, so that's the guys we had to use.
In your lifetime, who goes down as the best trainer?
I mean, I'm kind of biased, but probably Alan Jerkins.
Yeah.
I worked for him for 6 years, and he just approached things and saw things that nobody else ever saw. I mean, with Jerkins, we got to the bottom of every horse, and there was no stone left unturned. He would try different things, and he was just I worked for him for a few weeks, and I was kind of almost felt dumb because of all the things that he took into consideration I had never even thought about, and honestly, a lot of the people that I worked for hadn't really ever mentioned, and that was such a kind of a sobering experience in that he was so far ahead of everybody else, and he thought about horses in a different way, and that's just that was just part of his greatness.
Yeah, and the real players. What do you think about the real players?
You guys are the best, man. You took a concept that needed to be done, and you ran with it, and I mean, everybody talks about in a positive nature, and horse racing, there's always people looking to knock. So the fact that you've been able to be positive and create a positive experience and get exposure for people that really have a story to tell and they don't have anywhere else to tell it, and I think that's awesome.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
And what's your earliest memories with the horses that made you fall in love?
A long time ago.
Yeah.
I was a little kid. I didn't have any opportunity to get near them, and as soon as I got a little bit older and could get around on a bicycle, I started over at a stable nearby and been doing it ever since. I was in Pennsylvania, eastern Pennsylvania.
Eastern Pennsylvania.
Yeah, just north of Philadelphia. Yeah, I didn't get on a racetrack until I got out of college, really.
Yeah.
And I got out of college in '61, and I managed a farm there for a while in southeastern Pennsylvania, and then eventually I went to the track and just started started at the bottom and hustled until I got enough horses to train and go into the training business.
Was your dad involved in?
No, nobody in the family.
Nobody. You was the first generation.
Yeah, nobody in the family. Still nobody in the family.
So what made you want to get involved in?
I was a bored, lazy kid. But I went over and took some riding lessons nearby my home when I was about 11 years old, and been with horses just about ever since. I went to college for about 5 years, and then I went back and I managed a farm for a while. And then I just got in. I rode steeplechasers for a while, and then I got into training right on the bottom, like one horse at a time. Just kept doing it.
And what's some of the good horses you had throughout your?
Well, we won the Kentucky Derby with a horse called Funny Side, and we won the Preakness with him also. And we missed the Belmont. That was the Triple Crown. We were third in the Belmont. And we've won a lot of pretty nice stakes in New York and Maryland and East Coast stakes. I won my first Grade 1 actually in California for a lady that's been with me for years and years and years. And that was the Gamely handicap out there. And I had a filly called Miss Josh that won that. That was my first Grade 1 win. And then it's just been a lot of work, ups and downs, and like anything.
What would you think is the biggest difference from racing back in the day versus today?
That's kind of hard to say because there's different situations nowadays than there were in the old days. But I liked it in the old days. I still like it. But the government's in it too much now and all that kind of stuff, and it takes some of the fun out of it,
Yeah. And who was a mentor for you early on when you got started?
Tell you the truth, I just went to the racetrack and I started exercising horses, and a good friend of mine gave me a horse that he'd been stuck on a board bill with, and gave it to me to train, but I didn't get any money for it, but I worked out a deal with some people and stuff like that. And she won a few races for us, and we picked up more here and less there. And it just took a long time, but I didn't, the mistake I made, I didn't get a job with a really top trainer and do that for a few years. I just scrabbled on my own and had 3 horses one day and no horses the next, and just kept at it, So finally, it all came together.
So you really started from the bottom.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. And who's the best jockey in your lifetime you think rode a horse the best?
Well, I liked Edgar Prado in the beginning because he was riding in Maryland then, and I was in Maryland then. And when I got to the New York, I think one of the first horses Johnny Velasquez rode was a horse I'd taken to New York to run. And I was taking Edgar Prado up to ride her, and we got there late, and they wouldn't let Edgar ride her. And fortunately, I got Johnny Velasquez on her. He was still green, and he just got into America and all that kind of stuff, but she only ran 4th for him. I was a little peeved about it because I thought she could win it, and I wanted Edgar to ride her because he knew her, and I don't know, some dirty tricks in there somehow, but anyway, Johnny's everything speaks for itself with Johnny. He's a fabulous person, a fabulous rider. And there's a lot of really good jockeys here in New York and everywhere. There's good jockeys everywhere you go.
And looking back, right? Who's the best trainer that you think in your career as you look back now?
Well, they're all different too.
Yeah.
And you like some for one reason and some for another reason. But I was always very impressed with Wayne Lucas. He started with we call them flat horses. He started training thoroughbred race horses about the same time I did in the early 70s. So, and he was a fabulous person and trainer and everything else. He just reinvented the whole game for a while there. And I came along at the same time, but I was scuffling for the first half of it. And but it all worked out good. And we've done well since, on and off and things like that.
And you know, right? How important is the men and women that work with these horses every day?
They're absolutely important. You can't do it without them. I mean, I can't gallop 3 horses by myself and come back and wash them and walk them and then get 3 more out. But you might get 6 horses out the whole day, and you wouldn't be able to run a business that way. Yeah. So we have to have a lot of help. We get a lot of help.
And you know, what's the why for you, right? That keep you coming back every day?
They're live animals, and they're waiting for you. You got to get up and do it. Yeah. I like to do it, though. I like what I do. I like the animals. I like the people. I like what I do. So it's all nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're quite welcome.
What's your connection to racing, man?
My grandfather. Watched him do some great things out there. And it was always special every time he win. And me and my little cousin got to take a picture down at Evangeline, Darlington, Delta. Everybody's jockeys. You know, my grandmother was a jockey agent, and it just passed down to me, you know. I always hung around my grandfather when I was younger, and he would just teach me this, teach me that, taught me the basics, you know, and everything just came into play, and everything just built up until today.
Right. Who was a mentor for you early on?
Well, growing up, I was in Louisiana, you know. My dad was upstate riding, my uncle was upstate riding, and my grandfather was who I was always around and who always taught me everything. So it's like seeing him going out there, you know, it was always fun to me and my little cousin. You know, he would take us in the jocks room, you know, he would bring us on the backside early in the morning. I mean, he would tell us, hey, if you're not up 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm leaving y'all. And look, we was up, our teeth was brushed, we was dressed, waiting on the couch. And it's just like, that was just everything to us.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 19 years old.
It's good to see young people chasing their dreams, man, in a real way.
Man, I strive for the best, you know, for myself and on the behalf of my family and the younger ones that look up to me. So I try to be the best me and a better me each and every day.
Right. Who's the greatest jockey you ever seen ride a horse, man, for you?
Well, so far, the greatest jockey that I've seen, I mean, I'm really young, you know, but as far as me doing research and stuff like that, I won't say he's the greatest jockey ever in life, but one of the greatest to me so far is Ramon Dominguez, and I watched him on YouTube, you know, ride some really good horses.
Why Ramon?
It's a lot of reasons, man. I just watched this guy do some things that I don't see other people do, and it's just like I can see how from the start of a race to the time that they pass the wire, and me watching his videos, how this guy's a really good thinker. He's a really good thinker out there.
You ever met him?
I have.
Yeah,
I've met him personally. Ramon is a really great guy, and he's always someone good to talk to. Every time he comes around me, he always gives me the best advice. Tell me keep my head up and keep pushing and stay strong. Right. 2, I say my Uncle Kendrick. I love watching him ride out here. I love watching him work hard. He's a great guy. He's a good mentor for me. He always keep my head straight. And anytime I'm going wrong or anytime I feel down and need somebody to pick me up, he's always there for me. That's my dog. Wow. And my dad, that's my number 3 on my list. Oh man, I watched my dad do some great things on top of a horse. He passed so much down to me, you know. It's just unbelievable, man. My dad gave me something that money could never pay for, man. A lot of knowledge, not only on top of horses, but in life, man. That's my top 3.
And you know the name of the program is The Real Players Inside the Backstretch, right? How important is the men and women that do this job every single day?
Oh, man, it's very important, you know. I'm not a jockey, but I'm here helping Mr. Mike Maker out, you know. I love waking up and getting on these horses every day I go out there and do my best with them, just as well as the grooms that's out here working hard, keeping the horse legs right, keeping their body right, you know, making sure they're straight. The hot walkers taking their time to walk these horses after every horse come off the track. Everybody that help out during the races, everything plays a part up until the races, and we trying to win. That's it.
Yeah. And you know, what's your aspirations in the business? Where you see yourself in 5 years?
I know everything is a process, and I know everything takes a lot of hard work. In 5 years, I can see myself being a jockey.
It's hard to leave where you're from sometime
Right.
and chase your dreams. Like, what advice would you give some of these young guys?
Man, if I can give any young kid any advice, especially growing up where I'm coming from, where it's really hard, man, I would tell them, man, be a leader. Always go with your mind and always go with your heart. No matter what's around you or what's happening around you, always be yourself. Always work hard. Always stay strong, physically and mentally. Just stay prayed up, keep God first, and work hard. That's all, man.
Saratoga, Travis coming up. What's the vibe like around Saratoga?
Well, it's
right now?
always a buzz when Travis coming up. You know, everybody look forward to that day. That's when the big crowd comes out.
What's the coolest thing about horse racing?
Because I mean the excitement. You know, the excitement of winning, competition,
Yeah.
coming down the lane.
Yeah.
That's it.
And you know, for you, right? Who was a big mentor for you early on?
There's a trainer in Finger Lakes by the name, actually Mike Ferrara Senior. My dad was a trainer back in Jamaica. He was a good influence starting out. You know, I learned most of my beginning stuff from him. To take care of horse, do their legs and all that stuff. But as far as preparing and training, I think I learned most from Mike Ferrara Senior.
Yeah.
And I gotta give props to my man Ralphie D.
Yeah.
Ralphie D. Alexandro. He was the one that got me started.
Yeah.
So that's basically.
And when you say he got you started, what does that mean?
Well, the first horse I bought it off him. He gave me on a cuff, you know, a deal where we make down payments on the horse.
Yeah.
And I worked for him for a while, and I usually, you know, he helped me out in every way to get me going. So.
And you know, right? How important is these grooms?
It's a teamwork. It's always a teamwork. Without them, I couldn't do it. With the grooms, Outwalkers, the riders, it's all teamwork, and they're the backbone of the industry. Really, they're the ones that take care of horses. If you have no one, I couldn't take care of all these horses by myself and do everything, you know. So they're the one that does that and maintain their legs, maintain everything about the horses. So it's very important to have good grooms, and you know, you just need help. That's it.
And you know, let me ask you, right? A guy like Tomaine, right?
Yeah.
Harold Hardy, right?
Yeah.
He's a very legendary.
He's learned that. Yeah, he left definitely legendary. He won. I think might have won every stake there is.
Yeah, you know.
In North America. So he's one of the few that's been around that, I mean, worked with Woody from back in the days and took care of all his good horses, basically.
Yeah.
I used to sit around with him and just pick his brain all the time.
Yeah.
Before, when I was a groom, I used to pick his brain about horses and stuff just to get some knowledge from him, tell you the truth.
Yeah. What kind of horseman he was, man, when he was young, man?
When I was a groom back in Jersey, in Garden State, he was there, and I used to just pick his brain. He and my dad are good friends because they came out of the same community in Jamaica, so they both came to the track at the same time.
Yeah.
So my dad always talk about him. So when I met him in Jersey, I just kind of picked his brain, just try to get some knowledge from him. Just, you know, everything I could. I try to always looking for knowledge, so I'm always trying to figure out, you know, to get better, whatever you're doing.
And you know, out of the old time jockeys, right? Who's the best rider, you think? Best guy you've seen ride a horse?
I think Angel was, to me, in my Angel Cordero
Yeah.
was the best I've seen.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
And you know what made him good, man, like that.
I mean, he just was a race rider. You know, he did what he had to do to win. You know, he was just a fierce competition.
Yeah.
Competitor.
He get you to the money, huh?
He gets you the money. That's where he doesn't give up inch. He maintained the rail. He won't let you through. You know, he ride the harder riders horses also. You know, he's just a good competitor.
And you know, right? Who goes down as the best trainer in your lifetime?
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, you got the legendary Alan Jerkins were good. You got, and Chad Brown's a good trainer. You know, he's a young trainer, but he's a good trainer. Tad Pletcher has been good. So it's hard to say one individual. There's a lot of guys that are good trainers. So you can't just pick up one person and say this was the best guy. I love Pete Farola. He was a big influence on me coming up and seeing him. When I just came to the United States, I remember Pete Farola was also winning races left, right, and center. And I was like, man, I was caught up into him just winning races. So I kind of watch his pattern of training and try to, because I paid to pay attention to people's pattern of training, when how many days out they breeze and how long their breeze are. So there's a lot of good trainers, so you can't really pinpoint and say one guy was better than the other, because everybody do a different style pretty much, and they get a job done. That's the important part of it, just getting the job done.
When I ask a question like that, it's really all in fun, because all these guys is really
good trainers.
special.
I mean, there's a lot of trainers that are not in the top 10, top 20 that are just as good. You know, maybe they didn't get opportunity to have the big horse. But there's a lot of good trainers on the backside. You find them in everywhere in the backside.
Let me ask you, right? Who's the horseman, the trainer, the jockey in Jamaica that people that know, but the world don't know? Who's that person? That I want to give some light to a guy that's
in Jamaica.
Yeah, that was a great horseman.
It was a jockey, and as far as before my time, the trainer during my time was Kenneth Mattis.
Yeah.
I think he was a great jockey from what my dad told me, and he was a just as good trainer that I came up to see.
Yeah.
That's Kenneth Mattis.
Kenneth Mattis.
Yeah.
And he's still around?
No, he actually died a few years ago.
Okay.
But his son is still around. His son is actually in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he was a good horseman, very good horseman.
I timed Secretariat when he broke the track record at Belmont Park when he ran 1.5 miles in 2 minutes and 24 seconds.
Yeah, what was that like?
It was exciting. My wife was right by my side. She's passed away, but it was really something special.
And you know, how you got involved in horse racing?
I got involved with my great uncle was working privately in the 30s. He used to work in New York, and then in the winter he'd go to Cuba.
And you know, what's your favorite moment of all time?
I guess the fact that I made it here for 58 years. That's the favorite moment for me.
And you know, who's the best jockey you ever seen ride a horse?
Well, now that's a close call.
Yeah.
Angel Cordero was good. George Velasquez was good. Lafitte Pinkai, Johnny Rotz. It's hard to say.
Yeah, and you know, right? The best trainer in your lifetime, who that guy is?
I'm friendly with Billy Mott. Billy Mott's a great horse trainer.
Absolutely.
But he wins a lot of races.
Yes, he do. And Arlington Racetrack, what you remember about that place?
I remember going on the train there.
Yeah.
Double-decker train used to take me there, and I was just an average fan then.
How special it is to be a part of history, man.
It's very much.
Yeah.
Very much so.
You soak it all in?
Yes.
What's some of the greatest horses you've seen in your lifetime?
Kelso, Gunbow, I saw Forgo, I saw Hoist the Flag, I saw Secretariat. I've seen them all.
When you first got started, right? Who was a mentor for you?
The mentor for me when I started was Richard Dutro Sr.
What's your earliest memory of coming to the racetrack, man?
Trying to be Mr. Dutro, get to the barn 10.
Yeah.
He used to get to 3 o'clock in the morning all the time.
Yeah. And what made you want to be a horseman, man? Why?
Just love horses.
Yeah.
You know, we like to be here. I was hard working in, grooming. Just, you know, I wanted to get better and better and better and try to do something for myself and keep working hard. And thank God, so far everything is paying off.
And
But it's a very hard work.
hard work, right? And as a jockey, right? How do you start from like an apprentice and climb? How do a jockey get to ride them big horses, man?
You got to be good and you got to be lucky. You know, you need a lot of luck, and you got to pray every day that nothing happened to you because very dangerous sport.
Yeah.
You can see a lot of jockeys paralyzed, broken wrists, broken bones. I broke 2 bottle breaks. I was out for almost a year, broken ribs, shoulder, my knee, you name it. You know, it's a very good reward when you win, but it's a very dangerous. You can, any day could be your last day. You know, everybody thinks it's easy, but being a jockey, exercise rider, groom, hard walker, is very dangerous. Horses can strike at you any moment, the animals, and you got to be alert 24/7.
In your time coming up, right? Out of all the trainers, who you think was the best trainer in your lifetime? From the old guys that you was.
Oh, it's so many good trainers. You know, you can name Alan Jerkins, Bobby Franco, Woody Stevens. There's so many good, you know. Right now you got Fletcher, Chad Brown, Buffer, Richard Mandela, Ron McAnally. Oof, I don't know, man. There's so many good guys over there that you just, it's tough. Look, McGay, you know, what they accomplished. Billy Mott. No,
It's hard to pick.
it's hard to pick though.
Yeah.
You know, it's so many to choose, but they all, this game is very, very competitive.
Yeah.
And everybody wants to win.
Yeah. And you know, out of all the old trainers, right? Which one took a liking to you? Which one that really?
You know, I got very good along with Bobby Franco, Richard Dutro Jr., Tony Dutro, Joe Aquilino. I try to just look at everybody, you know.
Yeah.
Back then, I give me my first win.
Yeah.
There's so many good trainers out there that you got to try to look up to them and try to learn a little bit from everybody. You know, I try to be with Alan Jerkins a lot, you know, look around and see what he was doing when I was a jockey, just hanging around with him. Even sometimes he don't even put me in nothing. I just follow him, walking around, you know, trying to pick little thing of everything.
And you know, what's your favorite moment in this life, horse racing, all time?
Oh, and horse racing, winning my grade 1 as a jockey.
As a jockey? Wow.
You know, it's tough.
Yeah. When you won that, right? How that felt for you?
Tears coming out your eyes.
Yeah.
Just, you know, you never thought you can win it.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Never thought you could win, man. And you know, right? I see a lot of the new jockeys coming up. What make a good jockey?
You got to be a lot of discipline. Hard work. Be humble and keep working.
Yeah.
And wait for your opportunity.
Yeah. And you know, every day I see you grinding, man, with the team, with the guys, man, boots on the ground, right? How important are these guys with you?
Without them, it can't happen.
Yeah.
Without these guys, it's the whole operation. You know, when being over here on top and telling what to do is easy, but, you know, they got to do the job.
Yeah.
And a lot of the people, they just love to be here too. You know, take care of the horses, be patient with them, try to get along with them. They got a lot of attitudes, and you got to try to get along with each personality that you get.
And you know, how important is the groom to a barn?
It's the key. You know, if you don't got that key, you don't open it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a door that if you don't got that product, you can open it.
Who's the best jockey you ever seen ride a horse beside yourself?
Oh, it's a lot of good jockeys.
I'm giving you all the tough questions, Rudy. Don't worry. Everybody is good, but who you think?
You know, you got Maya Smith, his prime, Gary Gomez, Chris Henley, Johnny B, Angel Cordero, Jacinto Vasquez, George Velasquez, Lafi Penkai, Chris McCarthy. Oh, so many. This is questions. It's crazy, Right now, the colony, you got Ira, Jose, Luis Ayes, Rosario, Fabian Pra, Johnny B. No,
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard. Man.
Junior.
And let me ask you, the young kid Gomez, right? The young guy, right? I like that guy, man.
He tries hard, very humble, work hard every morning, and he's patient and he's very strong. And you start coming up. You just got to keep working hard and keep working and keep working.
And what's the why for you, man, to keep coming back every day to do this job? Why?
This is what we love.
Yeah.
I'm a competitive guy.
Yeah.
I like to win races, even though sometimes you don't win, but as long as your horse is trying hard, that's what you can ask for.
Yeah. And what's the biggest difference from racing back in the days versus today, you think?
Oh, it's getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
You got to apply by the rules, and you got to be humble and try to do the best you can with your horses.
Yeah.
And just trying to be the best you can be. One more, buddy. One more. You gotta make it happy, you see? You gotta try to make it happy.
You gotta make the horses happy, huh?
You gotta try to make it happy. That's the key.
That's the key.
Keep the horses happy, the how happy, and the rest should be moving along nice.
Yeah. They say love make the horse run faster.
Definitely.
That's it. Yes, Rudy.
We already know that he was something special.
American Pharaoh.
American Pharaoh.
Yeah.
So there really is. I mean, the horse was a champion.
Yeah.
And he making it so easy.
And then he got shipped over. Then tell me that story.
Well, he got shipped over to California, but we already know everybody in the farm that he gonna be something special.
Yeah.
And when we see him win all the big races and everything,
Yeah.
they make horse, proud,
You already know.
Because we deal with the horse when he's a little baby, when nobody know.
So what's the process? He fly over to California.
Oh, when he go to Los Alamitos, they had to take him. The assistant tried to take him, call the trainer and tell him you have to take him to the big barn. I said, why? I'm telling you, you have to take that horse out of here and take it into the big barn. The horse can run. The horse is a monster.
So the assistant trainer called Baffert.
That's
and
what
said,
I
listen.
hear. Yeah, the guy in the Alamito said, listen, Bad, you have to take that horse. I mean, the horse, you don't belong from here. You have to go with you over there. It's
Yeah.
And they're racing him, and he just doing all good.
And that's history right there, right? How often do a horse like that come along?
Not too long, not too often. No, not too often. We go see good horses, and they're doing good in the races. For no one like American Pharaoh.
American Pharaoh.
No one like American Pharaoh. American Pharaoh was special. Send the star.
As a baby, how could you tell though? How could you tell?
Because he started working.
Yeah.
When he go to the farm, we don't know nothing about it.
Yeah.
It's a horse, you know what I mean? But when he started to get fit, and we're breaking and everything, and all the class that he showed, you know what I mean? And when he breathing, the people say, hey, why? You go too fast. I say, I don't even move the horse. I don't even do nothing with the horse. I just sit and say, the horse just take you for a ride,
Wow.
It was that good.
Wow.
And really is, he win there in the Triple Crown.
Wow.
We know that he will be special, but nobody know. I know he will win some kind of states, but I don't know that he will win the Triple Crown. It's hard to say, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after that, he bring the Breeders' Cup, and that's it. They send him back to the farm, have babies.
That's it. What made you want to be a horseman as a little kid?
Oh, I go to the restaurant to be a jockey. I was a jockey in Panama.
Yeah.
That's when I come to this country.
And you came to this country to ride horses?
Yeah, the right horses, yeah.
Yeah. Why horses? What made you love horses? Yeah.
Because my side.
Yeah.
My way, I cannot play no basketball.
Yeah.
I cannot play no baseball. So In country like my country, there's a poor country. You looking for something to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I got a friend of mine that work in the restaurant. Was a
Yeah.
groom. He say, you know what? You'll be good for a be a jockey.
Yeah.
I was 13 years old. Work at the restaurant.
13 years
Yeah,
old.
and he said you will because you know go be you go be short.
Yeah,
You know go
yeah.
be grow.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I go. I go to the restaurant and learning how to be ride horses races and become a jockey.
And you know who was a mentor for you when you first got started?
My friend the groom he teach me.
He teach you.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
take me with him and say, you want to be a jockey? I go make you a jockey.
Yeah. What's his name?
Jose.
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 And you know, how important is a groom to a barn?
Huh?
How important is the groom to the barn?
Why important?
Yeah, is the groom.
Very important.
Yeah.
Very important. With the horse, the groom know the horse better than anybody.
Yeah.
Because you see him every day, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see how he acting. You know what he met. You know what he like it.
Yeah.
When he don't like it, you
Yeah.
know. You know when he's sick, when he don't feel good, right away. You just get over there, you know something is not right.
Yeah.
Because you see him every day.
Yeah. And you know, who's the favorite jockey you ever seen ride
Me?
a horse?
Lafitte Pinkai.
Lafitte Pinkai. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
The
Why
monster.
Lafitte?
Stronger.
Yeah.
The stronger the monster.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lafitte was one of the best I see.
Yeah. You got a
Yeah.
favorite race of his?
Huh?
You got a favorite race that he rode?
Oh yeah, when he win the Arlington Million with a horse named Tie Spot,
Yeah.
he win in photo finish.
Yeah.
It was a photo finish, tie photo finish.
Yeah. Tight.
Tie, real tie. So he win all kind of races, but I mean that race was a good race.
Yeah. And you know, right? Who you think will go down for you as the favorite trainer for you all time? Who's that guy?
Charlie Whittingham.
Yeah.
Charlie Whittingham.
Yeah. Why Charlie?
Because I mean they call him the bald eagle because I mean he know how to try a good horse.
Yeah.
He know how to training a good horse, you know.
A good horse.
Oh yeah. When he got a good horse in his hand, he gonna make some noise.
Yeah. And you know the name of this program, right, is the real players inside the backstretch.
exactly. Yeah.
That'd be you, right? How important is the people that do this job every day?
There's more important people because I mean there's the horse is coming from the bottom. You have you need a good people that working with the horses,
Yeah.
and that make the horses feel like a racehorse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A good horse might make a horse feel like a
Yeah.
good racehorse.
And you know how long you work for TaylorMade?
I'm working on and off like 15 years.
15 years.
Yeah,
What kind of company is TaylorMade?
the best.
Yeah.
Good. I like it. No
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
They treat you good.
Yeah. And that's what we like to, and that's what we like to hear, man.
Right.
Yeah. Right, when you was a young kid growing up, did you ever think you'd be this legendary in the game?
You don't think of it in terms of that. I grew up. My dad was a jock. My mom was a trainer. We started a lot of young horses at the farm for good people. I've got an older brother, 4 years older than me, Cash, and he dreamed big. I definitely believe, who I am has everything to do with my parents and who my brother is, and he always thought it was possible and dragged me along with him.
And you know your family members, right? Are they proud of you? And like, do they tell you?
Oh, yeah. My mom, she's watched more of my races than I've seen. She doesn't miss anything, and I know and understand why it's such a sense of pride because we've done this together our whole lives. For me to grow up in my parents' barn, working for them, it just racing. You collectively are pulling in one direction so hard and want it so much that when you do have success, the celebration together is as good as it gets. And I got to be a part of that as a kid in their barn, and now they're a part of that in our barn now. It's simply an extension of what we've always done. And the opportunity to be around, the greatest racehorses in the world, that's the dream. I mean, that's what you think about great races that you witnessed, you know, when you're in your youth and, you know, a kid, and now to think that you're fortunate enough to participate on that level and to have access to the greatest horses in the game. That's an unbelievable blessing.
You know, what kind of mentor was mom versus dad?
You know, my father's the greatest horseman I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And when you say horseman, just understanding what they're thinking, why they're thinking it, and the way they go about things. And then mom and her attention to detail and tirelessness, you know, just everything, just always, you know, being the youngest of that family was, if nothing else, exhausting. I mean, because it's always, you know, it's horses 100% of the time.
And you know, who was a mentor for you in this life when you really got serious about this besides your parents?
I've maintained contact with them that kind of drowns out any outside influence, but mainly criticism. You know, when the honesty that is, and it continues with my kids, and now that they're adults and intelligent horsemen themselves, critique or criticism that comes from family, you know where it's coming from, you know, and the willingness to listen to people that you know love you and want the best for you is completely different than anybody else.
How important is the men and women that wake up every day and do this job?
I don't think that you could even possibly quantitate that, but you going through any difficulty in any way, shape, or form, or disappointment, and when you drive through the gate and you acknowledge how many people are already there, putting their work in, laying it out there, you realize that how fortunate you are to be a part of a community that has that much effort in them.
And you know, who's the best jockey you ever seen ride a horse from the old timers?
Cash Asmussen.
Wow. Favorite moment all time in this life so far?
Just to be able to celebrate with family and the opportunity that, how fortunate you are to be in a moment that allows you to feel that good.
And you know, what's the feeling like when one of your big horses win the big race? Like, could you describe that feeling?
Pride. Yeah, it's proud parent. It's a proud parent moment.
Yeah.
Your admiration for them and your respect for them is just like your kids, you know, when they achieve what you felt they were capable of. Just it's pride.
We take people that are in treatment, like recovery from alcohol and drug addiction, and we give them a second chance, teach them horsemanship skills, get them back on their feet. You know, background's not a problem. Our main objective is to help people, and you know, we found that working with people and horses together, especially people in recovery, I mean, it changes their lives, really. Just that connection. So it's a 90-day program. They work with me. I teach them how to groom horses, and then if they work out, work hard, they get offered a full-time job at TaylorMade or somewhere else.
And you know, TaylorMade is putting this together.
Yeah, I'll run it.
And you run it?
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I gotta applaud you, man, because you know, that's what we wake up to do, right? We come outside to be a blessing every single day, my brother, and that's what you're doing, man.
I'm in recovery myself for about 2 years now, and you know, just helping somebody else. That's how I stay sober, honestly.
That's what it's all about. You know, and what's the name of this program?
School of Horsemanship.
School of Horsemanship, man. Josh Bryan, huh?
Yeah. We got about 7 guys there right now. We've had about 20 go through. We got some guys that actually started their own stable, racing stable, called Ready Made Racing, that came through the School of Horsemanship.
That came through the School of
Horsemanship. And
they're
up in Ellis right now training. They were at Keeneland for a while.
Wow. And you know how you got involved in horse racing yourself?
So the Taylors are actually kind of distant relatives of mine. So I've been on that farm since probably I was 14, 15.
Yeah.
So I've been working with it for a while. I just turned 30. So, and these horses are my life. I can't see myself without horses.
In your lifetime, right? Who you think the best trainer?
I'm a big Todd Fletcher fan myself.
Todd Fletcher.
You know, he's a great guy too. You know, I'm a big fan of people that help others, like I said earlier. I mean, it just goes a long way.
And you know, school of horsemanship is very important.
Definitely.
That people learn the trade.
A lot of these guys are just down and out, don't know where to go. And for me, you know, it's a building block. I try to show them, you know, you can take off. You don't have to groom the rest of your life. I mean, there's opportunities, and I'm trying to get them there.
The first things you tell a new candidate that comes to the program, like
safety first.
Safety
first. You know, I think that's the biggest part of it.
Yeah.
And you gotta get yourself comfortable with the horse.
Yeah.
Because you know they can sense that fear.
Yeah.
So I tell them, you know, if you're a little skittish, step back, take a second, and try again.
And you know, this program is only in Kentucky.
Right now, yeah.
Yep.
Maybe in the future, we'll see.
You plan on
We're
expanding?
going to eventually try to partner with other farms around Kentucky first, and then go from there.
And if you guys ever make it to New York, this side, I would love to kind of be a part of that.
Definitely.
Any which way we can help.
That's what I live for today. Try to teach these guys. I give back to what horses give to me. I want everybody to share what I get out of it, what I have.
That's a wonderful connection, man. You know, it's all about building the person up, getting them where they need to be at, to believe that they can make the transition. So that's a wonderful opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
A lot of people ask you to do something, but they don't open the door for you to get through.
Yeah.
You know, so that's wonderful that you guys.
And I saw on your videos you asked who your like mentor or, you know, Frank Taylor's really helped get my life to where it needs to be. Helped me save my life, really. Part of it.
TaylorMade. TaylorMade is my new favorite company in the whole wide world. I'm gonna be honest with you, man.
I'm glad you're out here.
I liked you before, but I like TaylorMade even more now, man.
Did you hear when California Chrome was here?
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
He's the top star.
I miss that horse.
He got sold to Japan. I just found that out, huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, can you tell us a little bit about him, working with him?
I didn't work hands-on with him, but, you know, just being around him, he just had this aura about him, confident, strutting around, you know, just a beautiful, well-put-together horse.
Yes.
But we have another one of those now, not this time, it's about the same demeanor.
Yeah.
He's killing it on the track right now.
Okay, his babies?
Yeah.
It's a wonderful thing, man, what you guys are doing, though. So.
You too. I love what you all are doing too. That's great. You know, a lot of these grooms, they don't get enough credit. A lot of the people that buy these horses don't see what's going on in the backside and how much work it actually takes, and how much pride these guys put into it. It's their life. It's my life too.
That's right. And what's happening is we're building bridges and not walls. You know, a lot of times people build walls. Nobody can go over. But with the bridge you guys are building and we're building, guess what? We can all come to the places that's necessary.
And you know, right, sir? What's your name again?
Duncan.
Yeah, he's got the hat on.
Yeah.
Okay. And you know, this yesterday, this was a company that I like, TaylorMade. Today, this is my favorite company. Just
good.
Talking to him and what you guys is doing, trying to be a blessing to somebody else.
There's a thing called, you can go online and look, it's called His Way at Work. And basically it means Christ's way at work. And there was this guy that he came from South Africa, and he was a strong businessman. His father had sent him up here to do this mining company in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And so he went on this 3-day silent retreat with these priests. And God, or the Holy Spirit, came upon him and through his mind, not talking in words, but through his mind, shared with him, hey, you don't have God at the center of your life. You pick him up on Sunday and you go to church, and when you get done with church, you drop him off. You need to be taking care of these people like they're God's children in your company, and you need to be caring for them. And you need to have God at the center of your life.
Right.
So the man did that, and then he wrote out a whole, like a McDonald's franchise would do exactly how you do it in your company, and then we found out about it, and we've tried to adopt it. It's like anything you do. We're not perfect by any means. We're not saying we're perfect. We mess up every day. But we do have the intention and thinking, okay, how are we going to do good for the people that work for us, not just for ourselves? And we've got like a caring team that with each division elects a person to serve on the caring team, and they come up with programs that the people need, and then we fund we fund the carrying committee, and they decide. We don't decide. So it's been working good, and that came out of the same culture as what he's doing, the school of horsemanship, wanting to help and give back, because we've been blessed.
Are you a born again believer?
Yes, yeah.
Welcome to the family.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a reason why Mark Taylor reached out to us, and this is a special. You guys are special people, man.
It's and you know, you guys are black and I'm white. Most people won't talk about this, but you know, you put your pants on the same way I put my pants on. The thing I think it's happened with my brothers and sisters that have grown up that are black, the worst thing is what society are the people that we need better fathers. We need people telling kids from the time they're that big, you can do anything you want to do if you will work at it, and you will put your mind to it, and you'll put your energy into it. It doesn't make any difference what color you are. Nope. But if you're growing up with that attitude, but if you teach people a bad attitude, like, oh, these people don't like you, and those people don't like you, and this and that doesn't do you any good. There might be some people that don't like you, but there's, you know, if you got zits on your face, there's people might not like you. If you got the wrong color hair, people might not, you know.
Right. Well, it's the first time I want to ask this. Can you say a corporate prayer for us?
Yes.
With the people who's going to see this program today?
Yeah.
All right. Standing under this umbrella.
In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yes. Dear God, we thank you for all of our brothers and sisters. We ask you that you bring us into one flock that you want. You said we all should be one. We are here together and gathered together to do your will, to look to your Father, and for us to be able to serve people and serve each other. Help us to be successful, but help us to be kind and loving, and help us always to look for the good of the other. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Oh, man, that's my favorite company, man. This is my favorite, tailor-made. Listen, tailor-made, man. I'm not even, hey, tailor-made. I can't even lie, man. Tailor-made, man.
This is real players inside the back.
Yes, this is what makes the real players.
Fabric right here.
Yeah.
People like this.
Yeah. Oh, man. You said you've been around since 1975?
1975.
1975. How you got introduced to this life?
I don't know, man. It just came on me. Wanted to be an athlete, and my size didn't correspond to be a baseball player, so I became a jockey.
Wow. And your favorite moment?
Favorite moment, I guess, winning my 4,000 race over there in Delaware Park.
Yeah. Wow. Nick Santa guy. Yeah. Wow. And you know, the name of this program is The Real Players Inside the Backstretch.
Yeah,
how important? Hey, me ask you, right? How important is the men and women that do this job every day?
The people back here that do this job, you know, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been in the jockey and on the backstretch, but the game doesn't run without the people on the backstretch. You know, the people on the backstretch, they put in 14, 15-hour days to make the game go, you know, and get little reward for it.
And you know, right? Besides yourself, right? Favorite jockey you ever seen ride a horse?
Angel Cordero. He's the greatest rider ever.
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 And who was a mentor for you early on?
Angel Cordero.
Angel Cordero. Yeah?
Yeah.
Wow. And favorite track to ride, man?
Monmouth Park. I thought it was a Meadowlands. Monmouth Park.
Monmouth Park.
Best track ever.
There we go.
You do know that Nick is the leading rider in the history of the Meadowlands?
Oh, man. That's that guy.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. Nick, my guy. How you doing, sir?
Oh, I'm doing well.
What's your name, buddy?
Wendell Hill.
And what's your connection to horse racing?
Kind of grew up playing with horses as a kid, man. And, you know, you grow up, you either stay with them or you move on. And I moved on and I came back.
And you came back.
True love.
True love, right?
True love.
What's your earliest memories?
Riding ponies, probably. Riding ponies, and my neighbor had a pony she was afraid of, and me and my brother didn't mind taking off on the pony because she was afraid to ride it anyway.
And you know, right? Who introduced you to this?
Probably my brother's best friend's grandfather had ponies, and he kind of allowed us to ride them after we worked all day for him or something. And he had 8 or 10 ponies in a field, and said, "You guys work today, you can ride the ponies."
And you know, the name of my program is The Real Players Inside the Backstretch. It'll be guys like you, right?
Okay.
And you know, how important is the men and women that do this job every day on the track, on the farm? It don't matter.
I mean, your babies at home need to be fed every day. So your babies on the racetrack, your horses need to be fed and attended to every day on a daily basis. And as I tell people, they probably get better care than a lot of humans do because people love them so much and they spend lots of money on them.
Who was your mentor in this business when you took it serious?
My brother.
Your brother.
My brother, Ron Hill. He's a head ringman at Keeneland Sales, and yeah, it was my brother, my younger brother.
Yeah. And you know, favorite moment all time for you in this life?
Favorite moment, probably the most exciting moment was I handled American Pharoah when he was auctioned off here at the sales ring in Saratoga in 2000, whatever it was. And was it 215? Then he wins the Triple Crown and gets inducted to the Hall of Fame last year. And there was a picture of me holding American Pharoah going into the ring.
Wow.
So yeah, that was pretty exciting. But I've had a lot of good moments, And a lot of Grade 1 horses, a lot of Belmont Stakes horses, and Breeders' Cup champions. I've been fortunate, been really fortunate.
And you know, right? The best jockey you've seen ride a horse.
Oh gosh, Angel Cordero was my favorite in the day, but you know, there's a lot of really good kids today riding out there. Johnny V, he's great, you know. Saez is great. The Ortiz brothers are great.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of Rosario. But there's too many to say my favorites, you know. But in the day growing up, between Angel Cordero and Steve Kaufman.
Yeah. And you know, a lot of people mention Chris Antley in that conversation.
Chris Antley, his days got cut short, but yeah.
And you know, in your lifetime, right? Who was the best trainer you think?
Oh gosh, you got to give Wayne Lucas a lot of love there because he trained trainers.
Yeah.
You know, so and he's still at it. You know, so no, I think we've got to give those who came before us a lot of love because without them, these guys would have had a hard time getting to where they are today.
And you know, right? Some of the old grooms, right?
God,
like tell me what made the old grooms so special.
Without the grooms, there's no horse.
Yeah.
You know that yourself. Without the grooms, there's no horse. That horse runs good because that groom loved that horse. That groom take care of that horse like it's his family, his love.
Yeah.
Every day. Every day.
Yeah.
Did you see the face on that kid when they won the Kentucky Derby? How much he loved his horse?
Yeah.
How much he was in that stall with that horse?
Yeah.
And horse knew him.
Yeah.
You know, that's my buddy.
Yeah. Jerry Dixon Jr.
Yeah. Yes.
I interviewed him right after the Derby.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was love there. That was excitement, and yeah, that was big time.
And you know what's the why for you keep you coming back?
Man, I'm 67 years old.
Yeah.
And I don't have to do this.
Yeah.
I do it because I love doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty damn good at it.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good at it.
And you know, our program was the whole goal is to talk to guys like yourself.
Okay.
Because you know, a lot of people look at horse racing and think own a trainer make all this thing happen.
No.
And I think, you know,
he's the head coach.
Yeah.
But you got to have assistants, and you got to have players.
Real players.
You got to have players. I can train American Pharoah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know, they say love make the horse run faster.
That's why I groom. That's why the groom's so important.
Yeah.
He loves that horse.
Yeah.
He spends days, sometimes nights with that horse.
Yeah.
So the groom's the real deal. He's the real hero.
Yeah.
It's easy to buy him, you know.
Yeah.
Easy to say I'm the trainer, but if he don't come out of that stall when the boss comes in that morning and say, "How's your horse doing this morning?" Boss, he ain't doing too good. What'd you do?
Yeah.
You know, what'd you do to him?
Yeah.
Or didn't do?
Yeah.
So no, the groom, I think they don't get enough love.
Yeah. And where you from, man?
I'm from Urbana, Ohio, about 3 hours from Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay.
So I do sales all over the country. I do 2-year-old sales, I do yearling sales, I do broodmare sales. California, Ohio, I've been to England. I've been all over the country, all over the world selling horses.
Horse took you all over the world, huh?
Horse took me a long ways, my friend, and it's still going.
And you know, favorite track?
We're here.
Right here,
We're here, Saratoga, baby.
Yeah. Why
Nothing
Saratoga?
like Saratoga. A big part of it is because the best of the best are here.
Yeah.
You know, you want to compare yourself to what is the best.
Yeah.
And then we sold babies all winter long, and they're starting to run as babies, 2-year-olds up here that I sold at 2-year-old training sales.
Yeah.
So, you know, this time of year, they're starting to run quite a bit up here. I saw a baby run yesterday. This young lady sold it to sales. So it's kind of exciting to see the baby sell. But then, like I said, this is all grade 1 territory up here, baby. You know,
And you know, can you tell when you got a real serious horse?
you have a clue by the evidence that you've seen in the past. You know, I've had a lot of horses in my hands, a lot of really nice horses in my hands. So I got a clue. I went and looked at some horses today, and to me, I don't feel like the horses look as good as they have 5 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know why.
Yeah.
And I'd say part of it is help.
Yeah.
You know, just like we can't find good help at a restaurant, at a
Yeah.
fast food place. It hits every business.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the younger people seem to want money
Yeah.
without paying some dues first, or learning how to get the money,
Yeah.
how to present yourself with
Yeah.
an animal,
Yeah.
how to sell this animal.
Yeah.
It's not just walking up down the runway on the end of the shank, brother.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know, you got to present this animal to make me want him.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that part of showmanship's kind of gone.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
sad.
yeah, yeah.
So part of my job is to try to help the young guys see that the future is, it could be somewhat like the past, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Still have some pride in what you do, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Too many of them don't have pride in what they do
yeah,
today,
yeah.
you know.
And you know, talking to you, I hear that pride and that love. And you know, this is what we wake up to do, man.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
You're here in the morning for a
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, yeah.
You know, make me could do something else, you know. I drove 10 hours 2 days ago to get here
Yeah.
by myself.
Wow.
That's love, man.
That's love. You
That's
ain't
love.
lying.
Can't wait to get here.
Can't wait to
You
get
know?
here. Oh, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a good run, man. I've been very blessed and very lucky.
It was an honor to talk
My
to
friend.
you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
How you got started in this life?
Well, my parents took me to the Kentucky Derby in like 2009. I was like real small. Watched when that bird win, and it was really cool. And I liked Zenyatta growing up. And then I got a job walking hots with Kenny McPeak about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And just did that for a while, groomed for him. Came up here that summer and just learned a lot and slowly crawled my way up the totem pole, I guess.
You know, what's your aspiration in this business?
I think probably down the road I'd like to be a trainer, maybe someday, but I really want to just be involved with horses that, you know, win big races and give you big thrills. And
What's the feeling when like one of your big horses win a big race and get back to the barn?
even if it's like a claiming race, it's so exciting because like you get attached to these horses and they give you so much joy already, and just to watch them win races, it's like the biggest thrill. It's so cool. I love it.
Who's some of the other horses you've been on?
Probably the most notable would be Swiss Skydiver. The year I groomed for Kenny, my boyfriend actually groomed her for her 2-year-old year during the summer.
Wow.
So we got to spend a lot of time with her before she ran and stuff, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
And to watch her win the Preakness and stuff, that was amazing. It was so cool.
So who's your favorite horse of all time?
Oof, that's tough. Swiss Skydiver has a place in my heart, but also I'd say Zenyatta was like the thing that got me started, was watching her run when I was young.
So if you was able to train a horse, you would want one like Zenyatta?
Oh, that'd be cool. That'd be cool. It'd be like everybody's dream right there.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it took a lot of work to get her there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of work. So
Patience,
most people
too.
would have probably given up.
Yeah.
You know, she didn't really get cranky until she was almost
Yeah,
4,
she's
right?
older, yeah.
4-year-old, I think.
Patience.
Yeah, but
key.
you know, it paid off, and
It did.
wonderful story.
Yeah, she's cool horse.
You got to have patience.
Yeah,
that's what
that's the
built
thing.
that. So you know, as a trainer, I
Yeah.
guess that's like probably.
Yeah.
And I love watching her the races now, but I can't lie. I was a Rachel Alexander.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, it was East Coast versus the West,
Right?
so you know,
Yeah.
and Zenyatta representing California. Rachel was, you know,
Yeah.
in the East, and she got Horse of the Year that year. You
Yeah.
know, she won 8
She's
straight.
a cool
You know,
horse.
so she beat Zenyatta out of that, but we never got a chance to see them race. But man, that would have been
Crazy stuff.
right?
Yeah. Super cool.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Camden too, though. There a lot of those guys were from. We'll see it in the surrounding Ellery, St. Matthew. A lot of those guys came from out of there too.
Yep, I'm meeting some of the younger guys now from Ellery. You know, what got you involved in racing?
You know, we were from my father, believe it or not, in World War II was in the cavalry. when they went overseas, it was infantry then, but so his horses were always part of our life. And I did the show horses a little bit and didn't have the patience for that, so I went to the racetrack where they went faster.
And you know the horses from yesterday versus today. What do you think the difference is? Or is there a difference?
I don't know. Yeah, there is a difference. But what it is, I couldn't actually pinpoint it. They seemed to be tougher back then. You could run them more often and that type of thing. I mean, the per starts now comparative to what it used to be is, God, it's changed a lot that way. When I first started, I mean, you were disappointed if you didn't run every 2 to 3 weeks. You're disappointed if your horse didn't get in or something, and now it's like once a month, once every 5 weeks. It's changed that way. Are the horses sounder back then? Were they sounder back then? I don't know. Seemed like it.
Yeah. And you know, who was a mentor for you coming up? Like a real mentor, that kind of...
Well, the first guys I worked for were jumping guys, Burley Cox and a guy called J.B.H. Davis. And then when I started to transition to the flat, I got on horses for Jim Maloney, and Mr. Whiteley was always, he wasn't a mentor, but he's somebody I looked up to. There was so many of them. Sidney Waters, Jack Wiper. There was tons of good horsemen back in those days. And you know, it was a 30, 40 horses. The cap on the stalls back then was different. You had 32 stalls you were allowed. So those guys, that would be a max for them. And now the trickle down effect is gone. What it used to be, say you wanted to be in New York. So you pick out Frank Whiteley. Sorry, I can't take your horse, I'm full up. You go to the next guy. Sorry, can't take your horse, full up. Until it's like a trickle down. Then now you go to a guy that's got like 20, 15. He can take your horse. And everybody was healthy back then. It was a total different thing.
No, but the game got to evolve, I guess. It changes.
Well, life has changed, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are different than... The one thing you can't do is sit and worry about how it used to be. Yeah. You know, a lot of these guys don't know how it used to be because they weren't around.
You chasing that fire right there, man. Cause you hear those stories of back in the days, and it's like, wow.
It was when I was 16 years old. This is the first racetrack I ever galloped on, right here, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I thought I died and went to heaven. This town was totally different back then too, because you know, you didn't have all the buildings and stuff that it's pretty congested now. But it was a racetrack town back then.
Who's like one of the best jockeys you ever seen ride? Like, in your opinion, from the old timers?
On the flat? God, there was that jock colony here back when Cordero was riding, and Georgie and Eddie Belmonte and Lafitte. Man, they were awful good.
Yeah.
You know, Baeza. He was as smooth a rider as I ever saw, Baeza. And a guy that doesn't get the credit that those guys get was a guy called Marco Castaneda. He was wonderful too. His back, he came around a turn. His back was so smooth. It was as straight as a table. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
And he was one of those guys, and Baeza was like him too. They were a little taller. And the horses would be running for him, and they weren't like moving. You're like, how's that happen? You know, when Cordero went to work on one, it was like, there was a lot of motion.
Yeah.
But those guys, they were something.
It was flowing, huh? Somebody told me, actually, Robbie Davis said, man, when he be on the horse and his horse get next to Cordero, man, his horse start trembling. You know.
No, he was something. Pound for pound, he was one of the best all-around riders there ever was.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. Because he would ride any man's horse.
Yeah, and that's special.
And he'd ride the big ones good too. I mean, he was. The chief always said the chief thought Eddie Belmonte was the best.
Mm-hmm. The chief, huh? What kind of person was the chief, man?
He was the best. He scared the hell out of me when I was a kid, but as I got older and got to know him better, we became pretty good friends, and he's a great guy to hang out with, I'll tell you that.
And you know, his name come up a lot, man. I swear, like he might go down as
He
the greatest.
He touched so many people's lives. Forget it. He was something.
And that's really, and you know, and that's what make him more special because, you know, when the people tell your story, it don't get no better than that, man.
He was something. And we used to, there for a few years, we would all, you know, like 5:30, barn was finished. He'd go meet for dinner. I mean, we did it all the time, 2 or 3 times a week. Jimmy, that's how I met Jimmy. And we played football down at Mitch Friedman's barn at Belmont a little bit. That football thing was a big thing with the chief years before that.
And you know what make a good groom, man? Like a real solid groom that you hear about, the old timers.
Guys that are willing to spend time with their horses. If you rub a horse properly, it takes time. When you sit down underneath one to do them up, you rub their legs. You don't see that anymore. Those guys would be working. They used to sit down, splay-legged. Horse's leg be between their legs, and they'd be working on it, rubbing, you know, whatever, liniment or whatever. Might ice them first, might hose them a little bit first. Then they come back and they'd work on them. You know, it's all about getting the blood rolling, you know, to heal things and all that kind of stuff. And those guys, there's nothing more. When you're massaging a horse's leg the right way, that helps. It's those guys, and you're talking about Camden and Aiken and Ellery and all. That's where all those guys came from. They're the ones. Those guys were unbelievable.
That was the blueprint, huh?
They're the best.
That's what they
and
say.
I ran a horse one time in Churchill. We were leaving out of Keeneland, and there was a guy that used to rub Alydar called Goot, and he was retired, but he used to come around every now and again. I'd see him, and I had this ornery colt. I said, "What are you doing today?" He said, "Nah, nothing." I said, "You want to go up with this horse to Churchill and run him? Can you do that?" And he said, "Yeah, I'll do that for you." And this was an ornery colt. And I said, "Listen, this, you know, your van ride's not going to be very sweet going up there." I said, "This is an ornery bastard." He said, "Don't worry about it." So it said like an hour and 20 minutes up there or whatever. So I drive up and he comes walking off the van, and that horse was like a kitten. I don't know what he did to him, but he got off that. He went on that van different than he came off it, I'll tell you that. And that's the type of horsemen those guys were. They just had a way with them. They talked to them, whatever it was. They're just their movement around them. Totally different.
Well, that's the sauce I keep hearing about. Hey, all your life you with the horses, huh?
Yeah, all my life.
Let me know.
I used to be a jockey. And my first winning was, I was 13 years old.
13 years old when you won your first horse?
Yeah, back in the hour.
So that's this lady.
And I win my first winning. I was 63 pounds. Little thing. 63 pounds.
63 pounds?
Yes. I couldn't carry the saddle. It was too big for me.
Hey, let me ask you, right? How you got introduced to horses?
To be honest with you, I got introduced to horse to get better for my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I figure if I become a jockey, maybe I can make more money to support my family.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially my mom.
Yeah.
You know, she was a struggle woman, single mother, you
Yeah.
know. And I promised her, Mommy, don't worry, when I become a jockey, I'm gonna make a house for you. And I
Yeah.
did.
And you
I win
did.
a lot of races, you know, and I became a little famous and I make a little money to make my mother house. Back there.
Back there.
Then I wanted to come to America, but I didn't know the language, I didn't have no papers, and it was tough for me, you know. I decided to become an exercise rider, and I did it in 2015 that I fell down and hurt my back. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you, right? Who was a mentor for you when you got to America?
Huh?
Who was a mentor when you got here?
Jorge Velasquez.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good people. Good guy.
Yeah.
Velasquez, he's not riding no more. He used to be back then one of the top jockeys back then. And I used to love to see them riding. I learned from them a lot.
The name of my program, right, is the real.
How are you, sir? How you doing? Good to see you.
Is the real players inside the backstretch. How important is the men and women that do this job every day?
Oh my God, believe me, you don't have not even beginning to think about. Those people get up, they go to bed 7 o'clock at night, and they get up at 3 to start working with the horse at 3 o'clock in the morning to feed the store, to clean the horses, to get them ready to go out, to train.
Yeah.
By 5 o'clock, they have to be ready to
Yeah.
go outside to the track.
Yeah.
But those people, they got 3 or 4 horses, they got to clean it, they got to clean the store, they got to do everything.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you. Hey.
He know.
Yeah, he know. Let me look. Who the best jockey you seen ride a horse?
Joel Rosario, my homeboy. He's from where I come from.
Yeah.
I asked him because when I was a jockey, we don't have a school. And I asked him, where you learn how to ride? Because we don't have a school and you ride professionally like a top jockey in America.
Where he learned?
He love it. You have to love what you do. You love it because you enjoy yourself doing it.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he made the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Hey, what's your name, man?
Sergio.
Sergio.
My first name is Sergio. They call me the target.
The target?
Back in the back street, they say, El Tigre.
Yeah, what makes a good groom?
Somebody that like the job they doing. If
Yeah.
you don't like it, you can never be good.
Can never
Hi,
be
young
good.
lady, come on. You know what I mean? You have to like what you do.
Yeah.
If you don't like to be a groom, you're not even gonna know how to pick the horse store. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love the horses.
Yeah.
I got it in my blood. I can't live away, be
Yeah.
away from them too long.
Yeah.
I miss it more than my family.
If you don't love what you do,
I'm telling you.
what's the deal? What's the vibe, Tuba?
The vibe is very simple. Social living and love of people.
Yeah.
Everywhere, everything else is garbage.
Let me ask you something, Tuba, right? Who the best jockey you ever seen ride a horse?
Oh, God, boy, you know something? You have some great ones, boy. My jockey's Angel Cardero, though, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, but you have a little kid, God rest him soul, named Chris Antley. Oh, I used to love that kid. As a jockey and also as a human being.
Yeah.
Nick Zito just say the same thing.
Yes, man. Oh, man. And those are legends.
Yes.
When I'm Chris Antley, he have some hands there. I remember working for Timmy Kelly and a horse named Wolverine. We're going 3/4, we're going 6. And he break a head and he carried that head right to the wire. I'll never forget that. I said, God damn. You know.
And you know, in your opinion, right? What's going to go down as the best moment in history in racing for you? In your opinion, around the world, don't matter.
The people who participate in races, it takes special people to do that. So thank God to the people who take care of horses. It takes special people from owners, trainers, assistant, foreman, groom, hot walker, night watchman. It's a combination of togetherness where it's one of the greatest things.
Yeah.
It's an honor for see you, gentlemen.
Absolutely.
Much love, man.
Hey, Tuba, thank you, man. Hey, when we doing the jerk chicken?
You know, that's one of my favorite places. I love to cook.
Yeah, when you doing that?
Well, I don't know when, but it will happen as long as life lasts. Much love, my brothers.
Yes.
Honor. Honor my brothers.
Yes,
Much
yes.
respect
Much
always.
respect.
Thank you. Thank you.
My dad's been taking me to the track since I was 13 years old. So.
13 years old, huh?
Yeah, I grew up coming to the track with my dad every weekend. Saw all the great horses run, Santa Anita, Charlie Whittingham, and all the great trainers. And I said, that's what I want to do.
Wow.
So in 1983, I moved to Lexington, Kentucky, went to horse school, and I've done every job on the racetrack ever since. And here I am now.
And what's some of the great horses that you had a pleasure to kind of come through your stables?
Oh, I've had a lot of good ones. You know, I've had my first big horse was Freedom Crest, and I had Big Mocker, and Secret Spice, Next Shares, and they're all grade 1 winners. And Idol, he's still in the barn. So yeah, we've had a good share of good horses, and now we have Going to Vegas. She's a grade 1 winner. You know, they're all equally. I love them all. You know, it's a great game.
And you know, do you got a favorite moment of all time?
I think when I had like a 4-horse stable and then I won the Goodwood handicap here at Santa Anita at 40-1. I have 4 horses in the barn. He was one of them, and he beat Horse of the Year Tis Now, and he beat Skimming. And then we went to the Breeders' Cup, 2001.
Wow.
That's probably the best time I've ever had.
The name of this